Hey everybody, this is Keith here of Euphoria Pictures. Welcome back to my channel. Right folks, so I'm going to put the unboxings and the 4K reviews to a side for now and do something a little bit different. This is a video I've been wanting to do for a while now, and I said, you know what, screw it, let's get it done. So yes, I'm going to be basically talking about horror movies that genuinely creep me out, scared me, or just simply unsettle me when I was growing up, when I was a child. And I thought it'd be a great video to do because it's going to bring me right back to my childhood. And it's going to be very easy to talk about these movies because they're some of my favourite horror movies. I knew when I was putting this video together, I think there's 10 of them, and I knew that these 10 were always going to be in this video. And you know what? If it gets a good response, I might come back and do another 10. We'll have to wait and see. So I'm going to jump right into this, and I'm going to start with the big one. The one that's probably my favourite horror movie of all time. Probably my favourite movie of all time, and it is John Carpenter's Halloween. Now, there are so many scenes that we could talk about during this movie, whether it's Michael Myers coming out from the shadows behind Laurie Strode, even the scene where Tommy is looking out the window and Michael Myers is standing across the street staring back at him. Very, very creepy. But the one scene that stands out for me in this, and I'm sure a lot of you will agree with me, is the scene where Laurie Strode is walking down the street with Annie, and Michael Myers is just standing there at the bushes. And the reason to why it's so creepy is because you are meant to be safe. It was unheard of. You know, Laurie is with her friend in an open street in the middle of the day, and there is Michael Myers just standing at the bushes. And the way that John Carpenter captured it all is absolute perfection. It always stands out for me. And every time that scene happens, after, I don't know how many times I've seen this movie now, it's frightening how many times I've seen it. But every time that scene comes along, I get a shiver down my spine, the hairs on my arms stand up. It is the perfect scene. And like I said, I think a lot of you would agree with me on that one. And it goes without saying, folks, if you have a different opinion, please leave it in the comment section below. I would love to hear your thoughts on it. But like I said, there is so many that you could pick from Halloween, but that's the one that always stands out for me. So there you go, Halloween. Right, so up next, I can't talk about Halloween and not talk about Halloween 2. Now, even though this movie doesn't have the creeps or the scares that the first or the original had, there was one scene that really stood out for me. It is, again, it's all to do with camera placement and even kind of music cues. It was just perfect. It is the scene where the nurse pulls outside the Haddonfield Hospital. You know, she closes the door, she locks it up, she's walking into the hospital. All of a sudden, the camera starts panning up. It goes to the mirror of the car, and then bang, Michael Myers' face appears in the mirror. And then all of a sudden, you just hear a bit of music playing, just a big bang or a thud, something like that. And I remember seeing that at the back in the day when I was a child. It genuinely scared the living shit out of me. It was very unexpected. I wasn't expecting it, and it always stood out for me. Like, don't get me wrong, there is plenty of creepy moments in this movie and scares, but that one in particular always stood out for me. And Halloween 2, I don't think it gets the credit that it deserves. I've always said it in videos that I cannot watch Halloween and not watch Halloween 2. They go hand in hand. I highly regard this one just as much as I do the original. And yeah, that's the one scene that really stands out for me. So there you have it, that is Halloween 2. Right, so I can't talk about Halloween 1 and 2 and not feature Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. Now, I probably should have said this at the start of the video, folks, but I'm going to say it here right now. But a big spoiler warning, because I am going to be talking about scenes in movies here, particularly this one, because I'm going to be talking about its ending. Yes, that ending. And look, this is just my opinion, but I think this is probably the greatest ending I've ever seen to any movie. It is perfect. It gets you thinking. Every time me and Ellen sit down and watch this and that ending happens, the two of us look at each other and we're just going, oh, and the hairs on our arm is just standing up. Yes, it is the scene where Tom Atkins goes into the gas station right at the end. He's ringing the channels to put a stop to the ad that can bring a pending doom to all the children of America. And he's contacting these channels. The first channel he contacts, they stop it. The second channel, they stop it. But the third one doesn't. And Tom Atkins is face acting. It's perfect. It's when he, you know, where he's doing stop it, stop it, stop it. And then all of a sudden, that one last stop it. And the camera just focuses on his face. Oh my god, even thinking about it now, I can actually feel the hair standing up on my arm. I am not kidding. It is the perfect ending, and it is. You're kind of just walking away from it going, did the channel knock it off or didn't it? Me personally, I think they didn't knock it off. I think it's a lot of people out there think that he saves the day. I don't think he does, and I'm never going to change my mind on that. So yes, folks, Halloween 3, hands down one of the most underrated horror movies of all time, and if you haven't checked it out, please do. Right, so we are going to step away from John Carpenter, even though he did direct parts 2 and 3 of Halloween. He was heavily involved in them. So yes, going to do something a little bit different here, and I'm going to quickly talk about Lamberto Bava's Demons, the first movie, not the second one, the first one. Now, I've said this to numerous people. Every time I watch this movie, particularly when I was younger, I always put myself in their shoes. You know, this group of people in a small cinema, these demons are wreaking havoc. And I don't know, there's something about it, you know, the thought that all these demons have to do is simply scratch you. One tiny cut, and that's it, you're gone. And it always genuinely scared me. The whole environment of this movie just really unsettled me. But there's one scene that stands out for me, and it is the original cover artwork for Demons. It is that scene where it shows all the demons running down the hallway, all their eyes lit up. I remember when I was younger, whenever that scene happened, I actually had to walk away. I had to turn my head to think. Think about all the scenes that happens in Demons. That's the one scene where I literally had to turn my head. I could never look at it. Even the music that's playing through it, it's so eerie. Very haunting, and it always stood out for me. I remember I watched it for the first time, and I remember going to bed that night and I could not sleep. I could not get to sleep, and for years and years, whenever that scene came along, I could never watch it. But then I forced myself to watch it one night, and of course, now that you're braced, you had yourself braced for it, it wasn't as scary. But I always remember that first night. And it really stands out for me. And I'll tell you, what a great movie it is as well. So there you have it, folks. Demons. Right, so up next, I have got Ridley Scott's Alien. And just like Halloween, there's multiple scenes that I could have put in this video, but there's one that always stood out for me. And I thought the way that Ridley Scott handled it was absolute perfection. It is the death of Veronica Cartwright. It is so unique because you don't see her death, you only hear it. Because it shows Ellen Ripley and she's running and she's trying to get to them, and you can just hear her screams coming out of the speakers, and then all of a sudden you hear this one almighty scream, and that's it, she's gone. And then Ellen Ripley stumbles upon their bodies, and when you see the reaction, her face, and then all of a sudden it just shows their bodies, it shows the carnage. Perfect. It just goes to show that sometimes you don't need to see a death, you can just simply let us hear it. And it is just as effective, and it always gave me the chills, and it is my standout scene when it comes to Alien. Right, so up next, I'm jumping back to John Carpenter, and of course I'm going to quickly talk about The Thing. Now, again, folks, if you notice some of the scenes that I'm talking about here, a lot of them are more kind of chills or unsettlement. Not many scares, and the reason to why is because it takes a lot to scare me in a movie. But when it comes to chills or simply unsettling me, there is so many movies out there, and this one comes in abundance. Don't get me wrong, there is one or two scary scenes, like for instance the resuscitation scene. I remember seeing that back in the day, and it scared the living shit out of me. But as good as that scene is, there was always one that stood out for me when it comes to The Thing. And I'm going to try and set the scene here. I'm no good at this, but look, I'm going to try anyway. It's the scene where MacReady, Windows and Knowles, they're outside and they're looking for Fuchs, and they come across his body. It's completely burnt up, and all of a sudden the three of them say, what are we going to do now? And MacReady tells Windows to go back inside, and then Knowles looks at him and goes, why, what the hell are we going to do? And he says, we're going to go up to my shack. What the hell for? And MacReady says, because when I left yesterday I turned the lights off. And then all of a sudden the camera just looks up at MacReady's cabin, and there's the light on. It is so unbelievably eerie. You can hear the music playing in the background as well. You can hear the storm, the snow all just flying along. Just adds so much atmosphere to the scene. And the one thing that really stands out for me is when the camera goes back onto Windows, and the face that he makes, it's almost like he's going, Thank God I'm not going up there to do that. I'm more than happy to go back into the go back into the compound. So yes, that is the one scene that always stands out for me when it comes to The Thing, and I would love to hear your thoughts on that one. I know one or two people out there do agree with me, but I would love to hear your thoughts on what is your favourite scene from The Thing, the scene that unsettles you, the scene that scares you. So there you have it, folks, The Thing. Right, so I'm going back to another ending here, and I feel the exact same way about this ending as I do with Halloween 3. It just gives me the shivers, and oddly enough, it's another scene that features Veronica Cartwright, and it is Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Now, I had to think about this one because there was two scenes in this one that really stands out for me. The one I am going to be talking about is the ending, but there's another scene in it. It is the scene with the dog, and he has the head of his owner on the dog. I remember seeing that at the time, and I was like, oh my god, it was terrifying. The way the practical effects were done in it was fantastic, and it's not particularly convincing, but I think that's what makes it really scary. But it is the ending, the scene where Veronica Cartwright comes across Donald Sutherland. You think everything is normal, you think Donald Sutherland is just trying to blend in like she is, and then when she goes over to confront him, all of a sudden he just lets that roar out of him. And again, it's the face that Donald Sutherland makes, and then when you see Veronica Cartwright's reaction to it, it is the perfect way to end this movie. It is so unbelievably bleak, but it is terrifying. It gives you everything, the chills, the scares, the unsettlement, everything. The perfect, well, I won't say the perfect ending, it's almost the perfect ending next to Halloween 3. So there you have it, folks, Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Right, so up next I have to jump back to John Carpenter once again. He is a genius, and of course I'm going to be talking about The Fog. Now, there is two scenes that I always go back and forth when it comes to my favourite scene in this movie. One of them is the scene with the seagrass, the three lads on the seagrass, and when they see the pirate ship outside and everything that goes on in that scene. It scared the shit out of me when I was a child. And it's funny to think, I'm almost right when I say this, I think I'm right, but I'm almost certain that that scene wasn't in the original cut of this movie. It was actually a reshoot. Could you imagine watching The Fog and that scene not featured in it? It would have been absolutely criminal. But the one scene that really stands out for me, and again I'm going to try and set the scene here for you, it is the scene where Stevie Wayne is warning everybody, you know, basically telling everyone where the fog is. And then all of a sudden Stevie Wayne looks up, and then all of a sudden you see the fog bank coming over the mountains or the hills or whatever you want to call it, making its way down to the lighthouse to her. And again, I'm always saying this, I've said it a few times tonight, it's the reactions when she sees it. It's this immediate dread on her face. And when you see that fog bank coming over, it's almost like a tsunami. It is absolutely terrifying. I can only imagine, and sometimes when I go out for a walk, and I'm kind of out in the countryside and I see a big hill, I always envision that fog bank coming over and how I'd react to it. Well, I know how I'd react to it. There'd be a cloud in the shape of me. That's how quickly I'd be gone. But it is a perfect scene, and it's the one that always stands out for me when it comes to The Fog. Right, so this is going to be the last movie that I'm going to feature in it, and I think I probably left the best till last. The one movie where I lost countless nights' sleeps because of, and it is Tobe Hooper's Salem's Lot. How did this movie not get a cinema release? I will never be able to wrap my head around it. It's just like Alien, Halloween, The Thing, The Fog. There is countless scenes that we could sit here and talk about. But it is the one scene that I know a lot of you are going to agree with me on. It is the scene with the vampire, the kid outside the window, him scraping at the window to get in. The scene is perfect. The way the fog is behind them, the makeup on his face, those eyes, it just scared the living shit out of me. The music didn't help either. But I lost so many nights' sleep because of that one scene. As a matter of fact, I don't have much memory about this. It comes and goes with me. But I'm just going by what my brother told me. But there was one time I did watch this movie. I went to bed. I could not sleep. And one of my brothers found out about it. And he went outside the front door. He got a huge branch. And all of a sudden he started scraping my window. Now, I don't have much memory of this, but I'm just going by him. He said, I literally ran down the stairs screaming at anyone that would listen to me. That's how petrified I was. And then when I got down, I seen my brother outside the front door and him holding the branch in his hand. They all had a great laugh about it. And look, it is... I don't remember as well as I would like. But just going by the way my brothers talk about it, they always have a great laugh even talking about it now. Which is quite brilliant when you think about it. So there you have it, folks. Salem's Lot. And like I said, that is everything... when it comes to this video and movies that just genuinely creep me out or scare me or unsettle me, like I said. And I have to tell you, I had a fun time doing this video. It was great. Just takes me right back to my childhood. It just goes to show that even when you're scared, you can look back on it very fondly, like I have when I done this video. So there you have it, folks. So as per usual, if you did like what you see here, please do give it a thumbs up, and if you could do, leave a comment down below, and please do share your thoughts on some of the movies that I featured in this video. And yeah, I hope to see you all again real soon with my next video. Until then, I'll see you soon. Bye bye.